Saints host the Bucs in the Dome this weekend. Greg Allman covers the NFL and has been on the Bucs beat for more than a decade there for Fox Sports. He's on Twitter at Greg Allman. Y'all give him a follow. Hey, Greg, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Hope you are too.
Doing really well. I think the big story for Tampa this week, obviously, it's a quick turnaround, right? Road game for Monday Night Football, and now the walkthrough today, and then a travel week in New Orleans. How does that turnaround, or the biggest effects on this Tampa team with that turnaround this week?
Yeah, I mean, physically, it's one of those where, if you're dinged up, you just don't have a lot of time to recover physically. So, I mean, today it's just a walkthrough. They've actually done that a couple of weeks now where they have so many injuries, it's just easier to have a walkthrough on Wednesday. They literally have 17 people listed on an injury report today. Some of them are fairly non-crucial injuries. One of them's on there with a teeth injury, I think.
Oh, wow.
But
there it is.
Yeah, they're dinged up all over, so they're just trying to take it easy physically and get themselves. They can make it through Sunday. They got a bye week, and that'll heal a lot of these minor injuries. But there's a lot they're dealing with. Right
There's
now.
Teddy Bridgewater. Teeth. It's new. It's a new one to me. He's on there
right?
with the teeth injury, not tooth. Teeth, multiple.
I think sometimes that's as simple as had to have a procedure done, and as a result wasn't able to go out there and risk injury, basically. But I would think he's okay.
Greg, let's talk about the impact, though, of a really significant one, which is no Mike Evans. I know he's been injured for a chunk of the season already, but what is the effect on the offense with no Mike Evans?
It's big, and like you said, they've gone without Mike for spells at times, 3-4 games here and there, but this is at least 2 months without him. So they've already dealt with injuries. Chris Godwin's been hurt. Jalen McMillan's been hurt. Puts even more on Emeka Egbuka, who's been a really good rookie for them, probably their best receiver this season. But Mike's a guy that defenses are going to account for on every play, and it's going to make other guys' lives easier by making them have single coverage. So that stinks. I mean, the Bucs really struggled to really move the ball downfield a lot against a really good Lions defense on Monday night. They'll have to adjust, and I mean, for them, I think they certainly hope that at some point after the bye, they'll get Chris Godwin. At some point in December, they could get Jalen McMillan, but they're shorthanded. I mean, their depth was really good this season, but they're counting on rookies to play a ton, and as a result, it's going to hurt the offense.
Greg, Baker's in his third season there in Tampa, and I know you've had to talk a ton about him this year, and rightfully so. He, as good as he's been winning the division a couple times, this is different. I mean, he's MVP frontrunner different right now. So what's different?
Yeah, I think he's done a really good job of cutting back on turnovers. I mean, last year, he's prolific season last year. Had 4,500 yards, had 41 touchdowns, probably the best non-Tom Brady quarterback season in Bucs history. Yeah. But also had 16 interceptions and was tied to the NFL lead. So I think that's always kind of mitigated the good things he did. But this year, to his credit, I mean, had a pick on Monday night, really wasn't his fault. Went off a player's hand. It was kind of a dual possession type situation. And that's his second interception in 7 games, throwing the ball a decent amount. So I think he's done a really good job of getting better there. Obviously, I think the main reason people are talking about him for a potential MVP is that, I mean, he's won 4 games in the final minute, which is crazy. He's just been lights out in tight games, able to make throws to either get in the end zone or set up field goals to win. I think they would have rather avoided some of that drama, but for whatever reason, he's been able to pull them through a lot of really close finishes already this season.
Is there a glaring weakness offensively?
Offensively, they're not nearly as good a running team. I mean, they were a top 5 run offense last year, and they're not. I mean, they're probably closer to like 20th right now. Their right side of their offensive line is missing 2 starters, so there's backups in there. They're missing their leading rusher from last year in Bucky Irving. And again, it's just the receivers. I mean, what the Saints will see on Sunday is no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, no Jalen McMillan. So you're talking about, your top 2 receivers are probably rookies in Emeka Egbuka and a 7th rounder in Tez Johnson. Baker's been able to get by with a limited cast and still win. This is probably a game they can feel confident going into, even shorthanded. But there's some alchemy involved in finding 28 points out of backups and a patchwork offensive line as they have.
He's Greg Allman, Fox Sports, on Twitter at Greg Allman. You can give him a follow there. Greg, defensively, is obviously we all know Todd Bowles, his background as a defensive-minded coach. The Bucs are bottom half of the league in scoring defense right now. Is to what would you attribute that so far through 7 games?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've been uneven on defense. For a while they weren't getting takeaways. They've gotten a couple of those. They had 3 on Monday. the middle of their defense has still kind of been problematic. They've struggled against running backs in the past game. I think they're dead last in the NFL in terms of yards allowed to running backs. Their red zone defense was a real struggle. That was one of their best things a year ago. And then at one point, they'd given up 10 straight touchdowns on red zone trips. So there's lots of things they can kind of push through. They're playing without Kalijah Cansey, who's probably their second best defensive lineman. But they're healthy in the secondary now. I mean, they had all their corners, all their safeties at their disposal against the Lions and still kind of struggled with some things. So it's one of those where obviously Todd Bowles has a complex and intricate defense that's complex enough that it confuses his own players sometimes. And that's something they're still kind of working through the kinks on.
A couple more for you, Greg. The Saints have been awful in the third phase this year. I think that's just objectively true for anyone who's watched this team. They've been not good on special teams. If this is a close game, how are the Bucs in that third phase so far this year?
Very uneven as well. I mean, they've had two punts blocked. They've had a field goal blocked. They've had two long kickoff returns to midfield. So no, there are concerns there. I would say it's another vulnerability for them. I think the last three games they've kind of pushed through and haven't had issues with the punt blocks that they had earlier. But I mean, they have a punt block. They've had two kicks blocked for touchdowns. I mean, so when you think about like their overall defensive numbers, anytime you have that big an impact of special teams on your defense, it's not right. So I think returns are dangerous in that stadium. You got to be careful there. The problem with the injuries on offense and defense is that pushes guys into bigger roles and takes them off special teams. So like Hassan Reddick is injured this week and won't play. And as a result, is getting Anthony Nelson, who's normally like a 15-play on defense type sub and literally plays on every snap on special teams. Now he's probably a 40-snap guy on defense. So you're taking your best player on your coverage unit and probably making him a half every other play special teams player. So that makes them all the more vulnerable in kickoff coverage to giving up a big one because the guys that are best suited to help you there are busier on defense.
They're going to wear the Bucco Bruce uniforms this weekend?
I don't think so. They've worn it like twice already, and they got the Falcons game earmarked in December for it. I don't think there'll be a surprise throwback, but you never know.
All right. If there is a blueprint for Todd Bowles to get it, with division games there's always a degree of unpredictability because of the familiarity. What's the blueprint for Todd Bowles this weekend?
Get up early, get the crowd out of it. If you remember a year ago in New Orleans, that was the weird game where Sean Tucker, their backup running back, went for 192 yards. It was like NFC Player of the Week. I think he barely hit 192 yards since then. But again, if they get a lead, if they get a lead, they're going to give him the ball, knowing it's the same Saints run defense, and he might have a big day. I think the goal for them is to not have dramatics and not have Baker Mayfield dropping back 50 times like he did on Monday, and get healthy and get through the bye and escape New Orleans with a win, however they get that. If they win by 29 or they win by 2, they're going to be happy if it's just a win right now.
Yeah, that was the 51-27 game where they cranked up the defensive intensity in that second half and made Spencer Rattler's life miserable. But we'll see how it all plays out. Greg Auman, Fox Sports, at Greg Augman on Twitter is where you can get him, AUMAN. Greg, we always appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks again. Have a good week.
Yep, it's our pleasure. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.